Hello, Chicago Bears fans. Welcome to the Bears Den podcast. I'm Andy, and I'm joined by Todd, and I'm joined by Chicago Clarence. So, guys, how's everybody been doing? It's been a couple of weeks since we last did our last show. So, how is everybody doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Just same old stuff every day. Mowing grass every day.
I can't complain. Just been a busy man at work. You know how it goes. Money makes the world go round.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So, it's been a couple of weeks, like I was saying. It's been a couple of weeks since we were last on this show. So today we're going to do a little something different. We're just going to call it instant reaction. I'm just going to throw a random picture up on the screen. I'm going to see how you guys react. And they do not know what I'm about to put on this screen. So here's our first picture, our first talking point, so to speak. So guys, what do you think of this contract that this man got?
Who's going first?
Todd, you can go first since you spoke first.
All right. It wasn't surprising at all. I mean, that's the fourth guy over 30 million per, and if anybody's going to do it, he's going to get it. And I imagine Jamar Chase is going to be right behind him, probably at 34, just, to keep the balance there. Right. But it's a lot. They've been raising this cap pretty steady every year, and it actually was a little more than they expected last time. Plus, they're going to have a rookie quarterback up there. They got to have somebody to hang their hat on. So I get it. I mean, if it had been 32 or 33 million, it wouldn't have really made much difference. So you might as well give him the biggest one. I think it was the highest non-quarterback. I guess it was over the Bosa contract, which was the just prior to that. But every off season that changes anyway, as far as somebody gets it and then it moves on and on and on. So, but yeah, he's probably worth it. He plays most of the time. Yeah, face of the franchise.
What gets me is when you start talking about the highest non-quarterback contract in NFL history. So you're going to have tiers, or you're going to have quarterbacks, then you're going to have a wide receiver as the highest paid player in the NFL. That's over left tackles. That's over defensive ends, defensive. We're talking about premium positions. And this guy doesn't even have a proven quarterback to throw him the ball. So how you going to get your bang for your buck? You're going to pay a guy that kind of scratch and depend on a rookie guy to throw him the ball? And we're not talking about Caleb Williams. We're not talking about some of the other guys, premier quarterbacks that got drafted way ahead of McCarthy. We're talking about a lower tier quarterback starting out as a rookie, throwing to a $30 million a year quarterback, wide receiver.
35.
I mean, you talk about rolling the dice.
Yeah. Well, they've got the money because they've got the rookie quarterback. So, I mean, I know they're paying Sam Darnold a little bit of money, but not much. So he should probably be the highest paid player. The fans got to have somebody to go watch, or hang their hat on. But yeah, it's the wide receiver money's gotten really out of hand. Free agency in the last 2 or 3 years. I look back, was it Christian Kirk got 20 plus. They go to Jacksonville, and that was shocking. And so now you're really number 2, 3 receivers are getting 20. And so then it's the high 20s for, we're going to have to address DJ on this, and we probably, Poles is pretty smart about that. I mean, I think he could have signed Johnson for cheaper than he ended up paying, but you roll the dice on it a little bit, but it will affect us, in the next year, 18 months on DJ for sure. But
the good thing about us is we're in the same boat as Minnesota. If you want to talk about signal callers, we got a good 4 years before we're going to have to pay Caleb Williams. Sure. And by the time that rolls around, we're going to be talking about quarterbacks making 65 million a year.
Sure, and we're not going to be. Rome's going to be making essentially nothing, right? So I mean,
he's going to be on his rookie contract.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling Keenan Allen is just a 1-year rental because his contract expires this year, and he's going to want a lot.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But this talking about he may want a restructuring
Yeah.
an extension now, and I
Right.
don't even know why. The only way I would even entertain it is if we talk about maybe a 2 year. This guy's got an injury history, and you
Well,
don't want to sit there be paying him, top tier money, and we can't even depend him to play about 11, 12 games a year.
yeah, that's going to have something to do with it. It's just see how many games he gets under his belt before he starts talking before the season's over about that. But with us and with this current situation, he's a title contender on a 3-year deal with us, for a
Yeah.
couple of years, and so he might take a little less, but it's not going to take a lot less. I mean, like I'm sorry, in Tampa, took less
Evans.
money. Yeah,
Mike
Mike
Evans.
Evans. Yeah, he took 21 or 22. Keenan might do that, but
But it's
that'd
his
be
Yeah.
third
it.
contract, though. It's Mike Evans'
Yeah,
third contract.
and
He's
he's
been
got a
paid.
ring too. Yeah, well, this
Yeah.
is Keenan trying to get a second contract, but I mean, at some point, if you like the team and you think you can win, that goes a little ways too. But I like the money from the aspect of not necessarily with the Vikings because there's nobody really there that you know. You got a couple offensive linemen maybe, but as far as defensive players, like plugging in something that we need, this money's not going to affect them, but it will affect the Bengals because they're going to be tight on the cap, and they may. We were talking about Hendrickson, the defensive end. He's their third highest paid player right now. And at 29, they might have to let him go, and that's something I'd be pretty interested in.
Yeah,
So
because
Yeah.
you've got to pay Higgins and you got to pay Chase.
right,
Yeah.
And
right.
them and Higgins have been at an impasse for 2 years now because he's been wanting to get paid.
I
So
mean, if I'm the Bengals GM, am I going to re-sign a 29-year-old defensive end? Am I going to draft somebody look to replace him and pay Higgins? I think I'd go that way than the edge rusher that's creeping up on 30 that's already making 20 million. Maybe he can and draft picks for guys that they just can't pay. We're talking about like Keenan, his fourth round pick.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I'm interested in fourth round pick for sure in that because
no
we have the
doubt, no
money.
doubt, no doubt.
So,
Because we're talking about he'll be a starter on our team.
oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that'd be a good 1-2 punch.
All right,
So,
guys. Next topic of discussion. I'm just going to throw up here. And while these guys are
mhm.
reading this, please, if you are watching this show, please follow us, like us, hit the like button on whatever social media you are watching us on, Facebook, Twitter. So, guys, here it says strongest position groups in the NFL. It has us as having the best wide receiver group in the NFL. So, Clarence, I'll let you go first on this one. Do you agree or disagree with that one?
I agree with it. When you look at DJ Moore, when you look at Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, but
Yeah.
that's a good thing. But we got the same problem as we were just talking about Minnesota. Caleb Williams has done nothing yet. He hasn't
Right.
proven that he can get in there and spin it, to a Pro Bowl or All Pro level. So to me, our secondary should have been up there. I think our secondary is proven. It's more proven than what our wide receiver room looks like right now. And the wide receivers depend on the quarterback. Our secondary don't depend on that. And we have got a good. When you talk about Stevenson and Johnson and I think
Gordon
And Brisker.
and Brisker and Gordon
Mm.
and Kevin Byard, who we signed in place of Eddie Jackson, I still say is an upgrade because at least he tackles, unlike
Right.
Eddie Jackson.
Yeah. Well, as far as tackling secondaries
Yeah.
between Byard and Stevenson, who's a monster tackler for a
Yeah.
cornerback, and then Brisker is a solid tackler.
So
So
Tom,
and even when Kyler Gordon, I mean he was aggressive. He got hurt, but being a little too aggressive maybe. But they all seem like they really want to tackle. So
Todd, do you think we have the best wide receiver room in the NFL?
I don't know who has a better one. I mean, you look at guys. I mean, talk about those like with Gerald Everett. We don't talk much about, but those two tight ends can catch balls, and our top three. And then you never know. I mean, Tyler Scott was a rookie. He could have some big games. So yeah, I don't think anybody's certainly deeper than us in pass. And you know what? That's putting a lot of pressure on a rookie in Odunze, but but I think I think that's right. So
Yeah, I really like our wide receiver room, and plus Tyler Scott could get a lot better in his sophomore year. Velus
yeah,
Jones, I think we pretty much know what we got with him. Maybe he'll
right.
surprise us yet. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, just think about that for a second. The Bears have the best receiver room in the NFL.
When
I
was
mean,
the last
that
time?
you just never say, right?
Yeah, that was something we could never say. And
I
offense
mean,
is supposed to be our strong suit.
we were pretty cocky with Alshon Jeffrey and Marshall on the same team, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
but I mean, this is a whole new level. So that's something I don't think I'd ever thought I'd say. The best defensive line, sure. The best linebackers, yeah, we've had that. But to say we have the best wide receiver room as a long-time Chicago Bear fan, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. That we're actually talking about offense in Chicago
Mm-hmm.
because I think of us as a defensive team for sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean, when I think of
always
Chicago
will.
Bears, it's running the ball defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like this wide open spread, throw the ball. We got talent at wide receiver. That's unheard of for me as a Chicago Bears fan.
Would prefer to win 10-7 every week if we could.
Yes. All right, so guys, here's our next topic of discussion. Welcome back, Clarence. And while the guys are reading this, I just want to say we have 132 Twitter followers. Let's try to get it to 200 by the end of this month. So this topic is Matt Eberflus must serve us up a winning season. I'm asking for 10 wins and a playoff berth. Todd, I'll let you go first on that one.
Yeah, 10 seems to be the magic number. 9, 10 for sure. I mean, yeah, and there's a lot of guys that are 12, and I see that too. Yeah, he's really since he took over the defense play calling, he's come out of his shell. I think if he wins 8 games, we can probably name our coach at this point with as much talent on this team. So yeah, he better win 10 games.
Chicago Clarence, you want to piggyback off that?
It's kind of hard for me, because I mean, my doctor told me I need to watch my blood pressure, so I'm gonna try to.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna definitely try to say this without getting upset. But when you look at our schedule, and I know we did a show about this a couple of weeks ago, we have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. And then when you look at the talent that's been added to this team,
mm-hmm.
We won 7 games last year.
Right.
Not anything under 10 wins doesn't do it for me.
So
So
I agree.
if you start talking about we not getting to the 10-win plateau and Poles ultimately making a move and firing him, that's going to piss me off because the guy that's sitting down over there in San Diego is the guy I wanted to hire. I wanted Jim Harbaugh.
Yes,
and for some reason, we could not line it up when we talk about egos and control and money to get him in Chicago. I know we interviewed him, but for some reason, we let him get on the plane and fly out of town without offering him the job. So then you're going to turn around. You decided to keep Eberflus. And if you then turn around and let him coach another year and ultimately fire him while Harbaugh is building something down there in San Diego, it's going to piss me off.
Yeah.
And now I'm start looking at you, upper management. I'm looking at you, ownership, as to once again failing the fans by not getting the job done. Everybody and their mama who has any sense about football knows we should have hired Harbaugh.
Right. The Ben Johnson chance will start pretty early in the season if we start slow. I mean, he turned down Carolina here, and he went to school.
I would too.
Why would you want to? Why would you even want to come coach that team? That team is the Titanic with 2 holes in it.
Right.
Yes.
But he went to school here. He's got ties and all that.
So what? That's going to get you on the unemployment line.
I understand that, but
we all live here in Charlotte and would turn down the Carolina Panthers.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I would rather work at Walmart than coach the Panthers.
I would stand on a street corner begging for money. So
yeah,
we should just do our own show and talk about the Panthers too. Yeah. So guys, here's our next topic of discussion. And while the guys are reading this, again, guys,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're watching us, please follow us, like us, subscribe. This one says season since most recent playoff win. We've
Huh.
had 13. We haven't won a playoff game in 13 years. When does
We
this
came
streak
close.
end? Double doink, we came close. So Chicago Clarence, I'll let you double doink and take this kick first, so to speak.
When you look at Harbaugh's record, when you look at his record, I mean, just humor me for a minute. When you look at his record, NFC Championship games, playoff wins, playoff appearances, we don't sniff that.
No.
And we didn't want to pay him $10 million because we thought that he wasn't worth it. Now, if you start the season like right now, if you told all of us and the thousands and thousands of other Chicago Bear fans that you guys are not even going to play the season, we're going to guarantee you that you make it to the NFC Championship game, I think we all will sign up for that.
Yes.
But Harbaugh makes that stuff look routine.
He does.
And so, with that said, when you start talking about 13 years since we won a playoff game, that shows us how much the organization has failed us. And I'm talking about with the coaching hires, I'm talking about with the decision makers, I'm talking about the free agent signings, all of that wrapped up into one. And meanwhile, during that 13 season, ask me how many times they raised ticket prices.
Every year.
You're going to charge us more to go up there to that stadium and watch that nonsense that you've been putting on the field year after year after year. Meanwhile, some of the stupid trades you have made, and don't get me started on that.
So I don't know. I couldn't even remember. So,
but go ahead.
Apparently we beat the Seahawks in 2011. I don't even remember that.
I do. I think we went to, if we're not mistaken, we went to the NFC Championship and beat New Orleans and got to the Super Bowl, did we not?
No, that's the year we lost to Green Bay in the NFC Championship game, the famous game where Cutler was on the sideline riding a bike.
Was that still Lovey?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's been a long time. I mean, we should have the one season there, the first Nagy season was the second. The double doink game.
Yes,
we should have. That it's aggravating. Look, you have coaching choices have been terrible. GM choices haven't been great. We've done poorly at evaluating talent early in drafts for sure.
That's an understatement.
Yes.
So that equals 13 years.
Yes.
Right, and let me say one more thing. Before you go to the thing. But to ask a fan base to give you more money to buy ticket prices. Now, a lot of people who may be watching this podcast don't understand how hard it is to watch a game in Chicago. You got no place to park.
Oh yeah.
So you have basically got to trek to the stadium. Then you start talking about what your fees are. They have a waiting list that spans 10, 15 years. We play in the smallest stadium in the NFL, and we've been around since 1921. Am I right on that?
I think it's 20.
1920. Yeah. So when you start looking at all the dumbest things that we do, and now we in the midst of trying to get a new stadium built, we go out there and we purchase property. We don't get all our ducks in a row to have those people tell us that, oh, well, we talked about tax breaks and tax increases and whatnot. Your tax is going to be astronomically high. We come crawling back to the city of Chicago to work out a deal with them, whom basically told us to kick rocks. And they agree on, so they hire some firm to draw up plans for a new stadium.
Yeah.
And it's still small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be It should be one of the largest in America because we're the third largest market in America.
And then you ask the taxpayers to help you pay for it. Where's our return?
Right.
What do we get out of it?
I can't, in my mind, I can't see them doing that. This is their chance to control all of it. I still think that Arlington Park thing is gonna happen. I just, because what are they gonna do in 30, 40 more years? Try again to own it all? I mean, this is the chance. You do it right now.
And let me give you one more tidbit. They ain't even finished paying for the remodeling that they did on Soldier Field 15 years ago. They're still paying for that.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree 100% with that. Get out of. We're not in 1924 anymore. Nobody rents and pays lease. We need to own the stadium. Get all the money. Get all the money. All of it.
If you can do it, if you can do it, then you solve the problem and you control it all. If you can't, if you're a small market and you can't do that, or ownership doesn't, if you can't put the deal together, then you stay with what you've got. But we can't, and we should. So that's just simple.
Next topic of discussion. I think Clarence's blood pressure is. He ain't even got to his segment yet. Okay, guys. The most important player on this team, not named Caleb Williams, is Montez Sweat. And that's basically due to depth. Do you guys disagree or disagree? Agree or disagree on that one? Todd, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, that's the if we can't figure out a way to make some sort of trade for another defensive end, I think that the spot that injury which would hurt us, offensive line is not great. It's serviceable with some depth that's serviceable-ish. I think but none of those guys are like a clear standout. It isn't like that. That Braxton Jones is a guy or Darnell. It's like, if one of those two go down, it affects us. But if Sweat goes down, we don't have another answer at defensive end as far as getting any rush. So I don't care how good that secondary is. If wide receivers can run around for 6 or 7 seconds, they're going to get open. So you got it. I mean, so that's 100%. That's absolutely accurate.
And we saw that before they acquired Sweat, we could generate no pass rush. So we know what's going to happen if he would go down. Chicago Clarence, what are your thoughts on that?
That would force us to overpay on a trade, is what it would do.
Yes. Sweat is the second most important guy after Williams.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, you guys make a good argument for that, and I will be inclined sometimes to agree with that. But I think the most important player other than Caleb Williams is the guy who's supposed to be protecting him, and that's Braxton Jones.
Yes.
If he does a poor job, just look at how many times Justin Fields got walloped. How many times did Braxton Jones get bull rushed or sidestep, and somebody got a free lick on Fields? I mean, he missed 4 games last year because of poor protection. Then you want to talk about holding the ball too long and what? Stop it. He had an average of 2.1 seconds of time to get rid of the ball. How are you going to survey a field in 2 seconds? So, and then I even throw you another one. Who's playing center? Who's making the line calls? Who's calling the protection schemes?
Well,
we can't even get that position right.
Yeah. No, we kicked that down the road for 3 years now.
Yeah. So
honestly, longer, but we should have addressed it in the last 2 years and haven't.
I mean, and we have not. We don't even draft a center, for God's sake. Well, I mean, we're making trades. We're trying to pull people off the couch to come in and play center and tell them they got a chance to start. What a team does that?
Yeah.
Right.
And we're so in love with Braxton Jones.
Yes.
What tape are they watching every week? Because the tape that I see, we've got issues over there.
Yeah, he's I would consider on a Super Bowl contending team, he's the swing tackle. He's the first tackle off the bench.
Hell no, he's the guy handing out the Gatorade on a Super Bowl team.
No, he would be a good number. He would be an outstanding. He'd be one of the better third tackles on any NFL.
Based on what? What have you seen that makes you believe that? Because he admittedly tells everybody he can't contain the bull rush. He's getting overpowered. Your left tackle should never be overpowered by the average defensive lineman. I'm not even talking about All-Pro and Pro Bowl. I'm talking about the average guy on his side overpowers him every freaking game. It happens. We sit there together and we watch these games. Mm-hmm. We see him get manhandled. When your left tackle gets manhandled, and you got a franchise guy that you just drafted, and you putting all your future, Poses put his job on Caleb Williams. Eberflus's job rests
Right.
on Caleb Williams, and you don't do anything to shore up the left tackle position. You don't do anything to shore up the center position.
Well,
No,
I mean, I think if as long look, I love Justin. It was great, but Justin held the ball forever. Caleb can't do, and he has tendencies to do that too. It's something he's gonna have to learn in a hurry. But I mean, we're talking. I mean, right now our swing tackle is Larry Borum. So I mean,
and the
that's
kid from
terrible as a
Yale,
swing tackle.
or the
So
kid from Yale is going to be the
I
swing
mean, we were
tackle.
all thrilled with Odunze, but we'd been jumping up and down, if Joe Alt had fell to 9, right?
Yeah.
Which that wouldn't have happened because Latham even went before him. But still, I still think we have a solid, we have a good defense without Sweat, but with Sweat, and if we can get another in, we're top 2 NFC defense for sure, and top 5 probably in all the NFL. So, but that falls 10 spots without Sweat.
Right. So this discussion leads right into this one almost. Who out of these 3 do you think is going to break out the most? To me, it has to be the guy in the middle because we need a running mate with Sweat. The Chicago Clarence, I'll let you go first on this one.
I think Kyler Gordon's going to take the next step.
Mm-hmm.
And I
disagree.
I think the reason why is because he's been able to stay in one position and learn that position, get it down pat. As you guys remember, his rookie year, they moved him all over the defense.
Yes.
And he was not able to get it down. I mean, and I think putting him in the slot and letting him defend the slot is his most natural position. And I think for our team, him covering the third best receiver on the opposite team is a huge plus for us.
Yeah, well,
So
I think
he's
when
my
they drafted
choice.
him, when they drafted him, they knew he was strictly a nickel. We just didn't have enough guys. I think Stevenson has already broke out. I think he, as far as a number 2 corner on, but I've been positive Stevenson, the whole way, just because I love a corner that'll hit you. And there ain't many of them do it, man. They'll shove you out of bounds, or they'll put he will hit you. But I think Dexter is the guy we need to step up the most. I think the other 2 guys are solid. I know that Gordon he broke his hand, and that hurt him a little bit last year. But coming out of preseason and the first 4 or 5 games, he was rock solid at nickel. So yeah, that's his position for sure.
And I think it needs to be Dexter. I like the other 2 guys already. I think they're already studs. It needs to be Dexter. Sweat needs a running mate, and we need a game-wrecking 3 technique. So hopefully this guy can keep ascending and help Sweat out, because if Sweat gets all the double teams, somebody's got to win on that defensive line. Somebody's got to win. So hopefully it's going to be him every single time. So
there's concern. That's why we keep bringing up the Jared Allen thing all the time, right? All right, the Jared Allen, the from the Commanders. Jared Allen played for us, didn't he?
He did
for like a year.
Yeah. No, I know. Anyway, next.
So this leads us into our next segment, but I don't know if we need to lead into it because it seems like Chicago Clarence is already pissed. But Chicago Clarence, what are you pissed at this week?
Well, you know what, guys? It's been a little while since we've been together, and there were a lot of candidates, a lot of people that got on my nerves the past few weeks. I could talk about the old lady that cut me off this morning on the way to work. Won't bring it up. I can talk about the lady at Krispy Kreme who clearly don't understand when somebody says, you got the light on outside. These donuts supposed to be hot, but yet you somehow managed not to give me the hot ones. I'm not even going to talk about that. What I am going to talk about is Stephen A. Smith and his ability to once again to piss me off. Now, We all have seen the coverage about Caitlin Clark. I'm not even going to even go into how I feel about Caitlin Clark, this, that, and the other. But what bothers me is he has somebody on his show, First Take, that challenges him on his coverage of women's basketball. And we all know it's been pedestrian. It's been pedestrian for everybody. And anybody who wants to sit there and stand and toot their horns and claim that they've been covering women's basketball to the level of everything else, they are lying. So Monica McNutt challenges Stephen A. Smith on this. And what does Stephen A. Smith do? On his podcast later on that day, he decides to get on his soapbox and try to differentiate what Monica McNutt was saying. All she was saying was, you ain't been covering women's basketball the past 3 years the way that you are doing this year. And he takes offense to that. So he's then got to go down his laundry list of people who has been on First Take and who has benefited being on First Take. So he can call out the fact that he's given people an opportunity to shine and it's bettered their life since then. Well, somebody needs to remind you, Stephen A., that somebody gave you an opportunity. You were just a contributor to Sports Center. They tried to give you your own show. It sucked, so they canceled it. You get a chance because Skip Bayless put you on the show, gave you the platform. He then leaves and goes to the competitor. You take over the show, and yes, you get good ratings. But what else are people doing at 10 o'clock in the morning that's not working? Soap operas are not on, so they're watching First Take. And you will have us believe that is all because of you. It's not. But everybody's not going to stand up and kiss your ring, Stephen A. We're not going to do it. So the fact that you have done a service and given other people the platform to offer up their opinions is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. But how dare they decide to challenge you? I tell you what, fly me out there and put me on your show and let's see what happens.
Yes, please do. Please do. I'll pay for his plane ticket. That
They'll probably see that.
I would love to see. Yes, that would be. I would love to match up Chicago Clarence and Stephen A. Smith. That would be like Logan Paul and Mike Tyson, a dream matchup. That would be. You'd have to charge money on a pay-per-view for that one.
I would definitely be the guy to remind Stephen A. that his poop does stink, even though he believes it doesn't. It does.
So, guys, with that one, we're gonna change it up. Usually, we end the show right here, but we're gonna discuss Hard Knocks real quickly. Some of us agree, some of us disagree. I personally do not like it. I just think it takes away from the team. It distracts the team. I think the team needs to focus on the team, needs to focus on the field, and not focus on cameras and whatnot. But Todd, I'll let Clarence cool off a little bit. Todd, I'll let you go first on this one.
I'm kind of excited about it. I mean, look, we've never got this much spotlight, and and we can thank the Panthers for that, of course. But yeah, and I don't know if that's funny. Eberflus has the personality for it, but I guess we're going to find out. I know Poles does. He's entertaining, and even Warren. Like little bits of seen him on TV. He's pretty entertaining. So I worry a little bit about. Because I think about it in my head. I think like some of the original ones, watching Rex Ryan acting crazy and screaming and all that stuff. I don't think we have the staff for that. But I guess the players are going to have to be the face of it. I honestly haven't watched it the last 3 or 4 years. I didn't watch it with the Jets last year. I couldn't stand to do that. But I watched this one for sure. Not that we need a bigger fan base or more attention, but it'll be entertaining.
Well, what gets me is I've heard some of the pundits talk about every time somebody has been featured on this show, they have a miserable season. Well, heck, maybe that'll switch for us because we've been experiencing miserable seasons year in and year out. Well, I mean, we've already talked about being 13 years and we ain't had a playoff win. So what's going to change? And then you start talking about the cameras and we need to focus on football. Let me tell you something. These are multi-millionaires out there on the field playing a game.
Right.
When they go to work on Sunday, guess what? It's cameras on you. So I don't want to hear that you think a camera's going to affect your ability to practice. Please. You know, what you need
Right.
to do, you know what I want? I would like to see their reactions when their paycheck goes into their direct deposit every month. Let's see that. Because when you out there on the field and you've been giving us some of the play that some of you guys have been giving us, and you worried about it showing up on the practice field now and you don't want a distraction, please. You're being paid to play. Go out there, and this is part of your job. Get out there and do your job. Who cares if the cameras are on you? If nobody's paying attention to you, then guess what? Then you're irrelevant. So
Right.
Yeah.
give the fans an inside depth look at their favorite team. I want to see what goes on behind the scenes. I want to see
Yeah.
what happens with some of the stupid decisions you guys have been making. Let us go into the room when you decide that you're going to draft somebody. I want to see the preparation for that, because God knows we've been missing in that department.
Mm-hmm. Just on that, we didn't talk about this, but there's a long form video of that little draft video. Did you guys see the full thing? It's like 45 minutes. It goes into a lot of detail. Anyway, it's worth a watch on YouTube. But there's a longer version of that little snippet that they put out. So, but for what it's worth. And if Hard Knocks, Nate Davis might show up for practice then.
So let's talk about that real quick. We weren't planning on talking about it. Nate Davis, what do you guys think on this one? He missed a lot of time last year, or first, I don't know, 3 or 4 games. It later came out that he had death in the family.
Right.
He really did not have a good year for the money we're paying him. He is a Charlotte 49er guy, so I'll give him a little bit of a free pass.
Right.
I've seen him play many times. So what do you guys think on this? He's not practicing this year yet. He's at practice but not participating. So what are you guys thinking on this one, considering all the money we have tied up in him?
If you want to know how I feel about practice, then maybe we should have some of my bowling teammates on so they can tell you exactly how I react when you don't practice. And then you turn around and you don't perform. Nothing gets my butt, scorched enough than when you don't perform when it's time for you to perform. And this guy's sitting up there and we gave this money to, and for whatever reason, I will give you a pass about your mother, because if something happened to mine, I'm still blessed to have mine.
Yeah.
So if something happened to my mother, I'm pretty sure it would affect me on work day. But when you come up and you put those pads on and it's time for you to go to work, then I expect you to produce. If you're telling me that you have dealt with your inside issues, you've dealt with your home issues, you've dealt with your loss, and you're ready to play, I expect you to play.
Right.
But the preparation, all of that goes in one. And like I just got through telling you guys, these guys are well paid to play a game. I don't want to hear these excuses. When you show up, you put that uniform on, it's time to go to work. Earn your money.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a little concerned. Give Ryan Poles a reason to push Bates to play. He obviously really likes this kid. He took 2 tries to get him, so that's the guy pushing for that spot. So
I mean, anyway. Nate Davis could find himself
first
guard off the bench with Cole Shelton at center and Bates at guard.
That's a 4-year deal, but we can get out after year 2 with pretty much nothing as far as dead cap. So
and Ryan Post don't want that. He don't want a free agent signing to be sitting over there on the bench because and be wrong about that. There's no way he wants that.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well,
so with that, Jim, we'll wrap up this show. So again, if you're watching us, please like us, subscribe, follow us, pound that like button. Until next time, guys, bear down.
See you guys.